This is Startup Series Latam, where we're about to take you on a journey through the dynamic world of Latin American entrepreneurship. In this show, we'll explore the stories of visionary founders and leading VCs who are transforming the region.
Mistakes is every day. It's how I learn, hitting my face to the wall every single day because I try. This mindset of the market is not enough, the money is not enough, how many investors are in Colombia, how many VCs are in Argentina. In Latin America, the companies that are more successful, probably they are trying to solve structural problems that government didn't solve.
From the Laván Innovation Center in South Florida, welcome to Startup Series Latam, where we are inspiring líderes. I'm thrilled to welcome Juan Manuel Barrero, founder and CEO of Lazo, a company that automates services for startups and helps early-stage founders, especially from Latin America, raise capital and scale their businesses here in the United States. Lazo has almost 1,000 companies using its services already, a team of over 60, mostly based in Latam, truly creating a platform and community, which is what our series is all about. From Argentina, bienvenido, Juan Manuel Barrero. ¿Cómo
Thank
estás?
you so much. I'm so happy to be here with you.
Thank you so much for joining us, Juan. And when I look at your story, and this is one of the very first things that stuck out to me, you're from this very small town in Argentina called Trenquelauquen, 40,000 inhabitants, and look at where you've made it. How do you think coming from Trenquelauquen and such a tight-knit community has really shaped your entrepreneurial spirit?
Identity is key for shaping your entrepreneur spirit, I think. And Trenquelauquen is my identity because I always say in Trenquelauquen I still have my family, still have my friends, still talk to them every day. I still was a place where I was born. It's like a lot of my greatest moments in my life has been developed. So for me, Trenquelauquen has been, and always I'm promoting kind of my town. But when I was 17, I moved to another small town. So I took a plane for my first time. I moved to Wisconsin.
Wisconsin? From Trenquelauquen, Argentina.
From Trenquelauquen, Argentina. People ask me now, sometimes in the US, what do you do in Wisconsin? But it was a break-even point in my life, was an inflection point in my life that year in Wisconsin because, first of all, it was my first time taking a plane to, in my life, was the first time making new friends, was the first time learning a new language, adapting to 3 different host families. So all those achievements, small achievements that I had in my life, I start feeling like those were achievements for me because I start like feeling more confident about myself. Mm-hmm. So I start having more motivation, I start having more purpose in life. And it was really a break-even point in my life. One of the things that Wisconsin gave me, like I wanted to discover the world now because I had such a great experience. So I went with a scholarship to study in France, Germany, Taiwan. So I worked for big corporations, but I wasn't finding my purpose there. So I decided to become an entrepreneur, but didn't have money, didn't have any idea. So my father was a CPA from Trenquelauquen. I asked my dad, hey, why we don't build like a agribusiness consulting firm for these thousands of farmers that they need a lot of management and financial support. Wow. So he said yes, and in less than 5 years we built probably the most well-known agribusiness consulting firm, national scale in Argentina, and probably that was my first kind of successful venture. But rapidly, I find out that after a couple of years, it wasn't a real good business. It was scaling. I had a lot of success, but it wasn't enough. So I decided to start getting more interest in the venture capital and startup world because at that time in Latin America, the first accelerators and the first VC funds started to grow. So I decided to build CFO Startup, which was the first fractional CFO, M&A, legal support for back office in Latin America for startups that scale in the region. But again, it was a professional services company. I scaled that company, but it wasn't enough. So I decided to ended up here in Miami in June 2021, which is today, it feels like home.
That's an amazing story. You used your knowledge of accounting from your dad small town knowledge in terms of supporting the farmers that surrounded you. I mean, all of these things using your unique skill set that, if you put all of that in a blender, you almost get Lazo out
Yeah,
of that,
totally.
right?
Lazo is a consequence, and I always say that this is, I've been in the professional service industry since the belly of my mom. So I want to transcend, I want to transform that industry. And I think I have a lot of experience, not only in professional services, but also in venture capital and startup world, because I understand the founder, I understand the VC, but I also understand the pains of scaling a professional services company. So that's kind of the Lazo combination that
Absolutely.
why starting Lazo.
Latin American startups face unique challenges when entering the US market. How does Lazo help them overcome those hurdles and get VC ready?
Well, Lazo is augmented intelligence for startup operations. And what is augmented intelligence is artificial intelligence enhancing human decision making. So we empower founders to solve all the finance, the legal, and the fundraising in one platform. So we normally help founders with the incorporation, with the bookkeeping, with the tax, with the financial model, fundraising, all in one place. So we are able to save time, money, and also because we connect all the data in one place, we're able to create superpowers for founders, creating this AI CFO copilot for startups. But Latam founders, when they come to the United States, they need to hire a lawyer, they need to hire a CPA, they need investor connections. And that's kind of what Lazo has been a bridge for them. We always say we are a gateway for Latam founders breaking into the US because we can help them with all the support, trying to make that a path more easier so they can focus on product and traction, what's really important.
Right. And as a founder myself, all of these things, accounting, legal help, these are tough things to navigate, especially when they're not even happening in your native language. So you truly are, an essential tool for Latin American startups that want to navigate this new world. So tell us about, this gap in the market that you saw, even stemming from your own experience.
Yeah, totally. I believe that what really creates enterprise value is product and traction. So when you are gonna value your company is the product and the traction that you have. But all these kind of talking to a lawyer, experience hiring a lawyer, hiring a CPA, seeing what is your payroll tool, your cap table management tool, all that data is disconnected.
Right.
So the founders spend, what I said is a lot of time and they spend a lot of money trying to solve those kind of things. So now with seeing the problem as horizontal, connecting all the dots, we're able to create more superpowers for the founders. So when the founders come to the United States, Latam founders, they need to connect those investors. So now we have all the Crunchbase data in our platform. So they can ask, hey, I'm from Colombia. I need to travel to New York because I'm gonna meet investors. And I'm from EdTech, educational tech. So I want to find what are the investors who are investing in Latino founders who are in Latin America, in New York, in EdTech. So we can help you to identify those and also see who do you have connections with that person. So that's creating superpowers that today founders doesn't have, and that's also closing the bridge.
Absolutely.
It's just making that bridge much more simple for them.
It's the Lazo way, as
The
you
Lazo
call
way,
it.
like we call it.
And that's great that you're actually also zeroing in on people that could invest in them.
Yeah.
You started this agro business with your dad, then you launched CFO Startup, now you have Lazo. There's no doubt you're a serial entrepreneur. And oftentimes with folks like you learn so much more, and really all of us, you learn so much more from failures than from wins, right? So tell me about what mistakes you feel have shaped your approach with Lazo.
Yeah, well, mistakes is every day. It's how I learn. It's hitting my face to the wall every single day because I try. And that's what entrepreneurs is about. But one of the big lesson learned that I have is just, the first, it was talent. Like in my previous ventures, in my previous companies, for example, in the first one that I built with my dad, we didn't have enough profit. So we weren't able, all the problems were coming back to me to solve it. So I didn't have enough money to hire better people.
Right.
to solve those problems. So I ended up like scaling a company, and I was solving even more problems every day, the same problems, because I didn't have enough money to. So talent is everything if you want to scale. Also, all my ventures has been on niche, and in the US, everything is so big, the pie is so big for everything. So understanding your customer as best as possible every single day is key to really win any game that you want to play. So what I grew all my companies because I always focus on niche. So when you're starting a company, like focus on a niche, because it's much better than focusing on many things. And probably one other thing is that in my previous company I didn't use tech. And if you really want to scale, you need to think in how to solve these problems with more tech, so you can really scale. For example, in my case, if I want to, I'm serving almost 1,000 entrepreneurs in a monthly basis. If I want to serve 20,000, 50,000, how I'm gonna do it without technology? It's impossible. So if you really want to scale, you have to use software, and you have to see how the technology can help you to solve that problem even better.
So I hope you're taking notes at home or in your office. One, hire good talent, the best talent, niche, and technology in order to scale. You also did this. You launched Lazo at such a bold moment. So, 2021, Latin America was the fastest growing region for venture funding. But then it experiences this very sharp decline after 21, and that's when you decide to launch. Tell me about, what made this the right time, and what was that gap that you were aiming to fill?
I think time is hard to know when is the right time, but I think I was kind of, I could say lucky, but I don't believe in luck. I believe that if you are trying, one day the luck will come. But I think what happened is all that money that was from 2018, 2020, all the VC funds that started to blow in Latin America, ended up of creating hundreds of companies. And all those companies were using different lawyers, different CPAs, and they now with the downturn, they started to be more efficient. So the opportunity of Lazo trying to tell you, hey, this is not so complicated. This is a playbook that you have to do, because when you're going to raise capital in the United States, VC, Series A, VC, Series B, they need to see that you have your cap table on your data room, your cap table, your financials in place. So basically, we are trying, why Lazo, I think it was successful and grew very organically, is because we came with the solution that was showing them the playbook and solving that problem that they had of choosing a lawyer, a CPA, and connected to investor, much more simple. I always say, if you want to build something that is going to win, you have to build it 10x better than what exists today.
And perhaps there's a lesson in that there's never a right time to launch a startup. And I love what you said in that it was in all these, venture capital tourists to Latin America, if you will, and this kind of energy and capital that was dispersed, that you saw a way to make it more efficient, precisely because after the downturn, people had less money, less capital to spend. The word Lazo is so beautiful. So for our non-Spanish speakers, Lazo means bow. Lazo is a bridge. In your case, you're a bridge between Latam founders and VCs in the US. How different are these two worlds that you're generating a Lazo between? How different is it to launch a business in Latin America than to launch a business here in the US?
Well, I think there are many differences. First of all, the VC activity in Latin America is very new. We only have 15, 20 years. In the US, we have over 70 years. So investors are more professional, they have more experience, they have more funds. The market is totally different. Of course, when you want to scale in Latin America, you have to think in different multiple countries. And in the US, even the Latino market is one of the top 10 GDP in the world. So here, if you want to just focus on Latino market, is huge. So there are a lot of difference, but one of the big difference that I found when I moved here, it was this sense of abundance. Like when I start like meeting the first people here in Miami, I start feeling that the people wanted to help me. The people were very open on, hey, I'll introduce you to this person, let me know what you need. So even like Miami is more Latino culturally, the abundancy of the capital that there is here, the abundancy of the opportunity, if you really want to try and you really want to work hard, I think I found that energy here since the first day that I got to the United States. Compared to Latin America, it was this kind of all the time we have crises, all the time we have different regulations, so like problems with society, with the structural governments that the government that don't solve the structural problems of the society. I think there is this mindset of sometimes scarcity that the market is not enough, it's not big enough, the money is not enough. You know, it's like if you're a founder, you have to pitch to an investor. How many investors are in Colombia? How many VCs are in Argentina? You don't have access to hundreds, thousands of investors. You only have access to 3, 4. So that's kind of this mindset of scarcity that is not because of the people, it's not a problem of the people, it's because of the atmosphere that you have and you were born. I think it's a huge difference when you are like trying to build something here versus trying to build something in Latin America. So one of the things also that I always said is like, in the US, you have everything clear, like you only focus on building your product every single day better than the day before. In Latin America, the companies that are more successful, probably they are trying to solve structural problems that government didn't solve yet. So,
and that's beautiful. I think there is a purpose and a mission to what Latin American founders do in terms of truly generating social impact, you know, improving society, structural problems where governments have failed, instead of maybe the 10th food delivery company in San Francisco here in the United States.
You have to see the vaso medio lleno, vaso medio vacío. I think those markets are amazing. But of course, building a company is much more simple here, but it's more competitive.
Absolutely. And bringing a bit of this abundance mindset that you experience here to Latam founders, which is what you do with your energy and your spirit. You know, founders from Latam, you almost have to work twice as hard to gain half the recognition, but you still try. And I love that you said it like, I'm beating my head against the wall, but I'm still trying. You know, there's that grit and that hunger. So what steps do you take to ensure that, you know, Lazo gain the necessary validation in a market like this one with those people that are trying day in and day out?
Well, I think validation is not only in the US, like in everywhere, but of course, you know that I don't come from Ivy League university. I come from Argentina, so from a small town. But at the end, people invest in people. So, and you relate with people. So validation is part of getting there, getting out there, and start building your own reputation of you as a founder and also of the company. But one of my strategy has been, of course, having integrity, like whatever I said, I'll do it, and I will do my best. And if I can really do it, because at least I try 100 times and fail, but people saw that I try. So reputation is about doing what I think, but also what I've done is just a strategy of community. And when you are here, you are not invited to the best places where are the best investors and the best founders and whatever. No one knows you. So one of the strategies that I did to get to know the people to know me is like start building my own community. So I start like, okay, I want to meet this person. I wanted to get in touch with this person, how I get the attention. I invite them as a speaker, and I start building my own community with the people that I can. So if I have like a good speaker, then I can invite people to, I can attract people. So I start building this community strategy because it's in my DNA, but also it's in the DNA of the Lazo company. Absolutely. Today. We are seeing community as a competitive advantage in the long term of the company. But community has been the answer for many of the things that we have achieved so far. And of course, if we wanna, it's harder to scale community because it's in my DNA, but it's hard to put it on a massive.
That's your next entrepreneurship. We're gonna try and scale your DNA.
Yeah, probably.
Have a lot of Juan Manuels. No, but I love what you said about community being the answer to validation.
Yeah.
Integrity comes across.
Yeah.
From the moment I met you, that absolutely came across, being true to your word. And also this idea of, if you're not invited to the table, set up your own table and invite some folks to come along.
Yeah.
Here in Miami, you moved here in 21 when it was just becoming the thriving entrepreneurial and technology ecosystem that it is today. And in fact, I met you at a tech meetup here where there was cold plunging and breath work, and you were at the center of it. So tell me about gaining that strong presence in Miami, because when you came here, you didn't know anybody.
No, I didn't know anybody, and I think when you start building your community, you start becoming more relevant, and when you start having people start like seeing you once, twice, three times, 4, 5, 6. Then the people that you seen as impossible to get start inviting you because you've been like consistently doing and showing up. So basically, I think that's how I ended up building this. But also, I'm not trying to build always what others are doing. I'm always trying to do what other people are not doing. So I always try to see what is in the market, to see what is missing. So I'm not trying to compete to anybody. So I'm trying to be like a value add space for the people when I'm trying to create community. For example, I don't want to do like any after tech meetup for founders because there are many of them. So if I want to do something, is like one of the things that I've been doing is Parrilla con Amigos, which is inviting a chef from Trenkelauken and invite.
Are you serious? Is this something that's I've never been invited to this Parrilla con Amigos.
You will be invited, but I started last year and it was a total success because people start seeing that on social media, and I wanted to be part of Parrilla con Amigos. So then it was much easier to invite people to Parrilla con Amigos. So at the end, it's like, and I didn't let anybody to talk about businesses. I was asking 12 people on the table
who are founders,
who were like founders,
and
VCs, and very high level because it was very small table, and I didn't let anybody to talk about what they do. I asked them what are they as a person and what they do after work or before work, and of course, entrepreneurs, investors who are very passionate about what we do. So it's really hard for everybody to tell who you are.
Excluding that,
excluding your job, so excluding what you do for your passion, for your dreams or whatever. So that's one of the examples that I've been doing and how I build community.
So basically, I launched a whole show called Startup Series Latam just to be invited to Parrilla con Amigos.
Yeah.
If I just get that out of it, I'm fine. Juan, tell me, how different is it to make these connections and to network in the United States versus Latin America?
Well, I think this scarcity mindset and abundance mindset it has a lot to do with the opportunities that you have here on the networking experience. So in my networking experience, I've been building my network in the United States very, very fast.
Any advice for founders who are seeing you in terms of how to network here effectively?
Trying to be different. Like if you are trying to approach an investor in an after like a tech happy hour, whatever, you are one of them, of others, you know. So you have to try to be different always. So you have to have your identity, you have to have your authenticity, and at the end, people invest in people. So relations is about the authenticity of how we met and how we talk. And if you see like, if you know me as a person, as a real person,
Yeah.
and not what I'm pitching to you. So I think being authentic and trying to be always different and not trying to be competing with others on like, if you're an investor and we have 5 people here waiting to talk to you, I'm not gonna be there. Because I know I'm gonna be one of those 5 pitches that you are gonna forget. So I don't. Of course, it could be an opportunity, and you have to try everything. But I don't lose my energy and my time on trying to get there. I will have the time to meet you in another time. So that's kind of what has been my strategy. I don't know if it's the best strategy, but for me, trying to be always different and not trying to do what others are doing has been probably my strategy, and so far has been good.
It has been a winning strategy. And it's a full circle to my first question about you being from Trenkelauken and you saying to me, a founder's identity is everything.
Yeah.
One final question. With your growing team based mostly in Latin America, how do you maintain a cohesive company culture and company values, you being here in Miami and then having the rest of your employees in Latam?
What I think is key on a company for a CEO is to have a big vision that is aligned with all interests of people, because people are totally different. Everyone is different. Everybody has different motivations. Everyone is in different part of their life. So trying to put like a big vision that is aligns everyone is key for a CEO, and to start having people who can go with your dreams. But at the end, one of the big challenges is like having this Silicon Valley mindset and having like a culture of excellence. So I'm very proud about the culture of Lazo, and of course we are not perfect, but we still have a lot of challenge. But I think what I have to work every single day on the culture is just making people to want to achieve excellence every day, because this is a very competitive landscape. Of course, to the United States, everybody from Asia, Africa, Europe, they come here to compete. So if you really wanted to win the game, you have to have a strategy of excellence, and you want to have people who wants to win the game. So I think that is the most important challenge when you are hiring remotely, and having people who never faced that before. So teaching them and showing them the way to get there. But in general, Latam has a great talent. Of course, the cost of living in Latin America is cheaper than in the United States, and still have people more flexible, people more like, of course, willing to work for here because they have more opportunities. And there is this opportunity of hiring with the same culture, like, or better cultural fit with the US compared to probably Asia
Absolutely.
or India or other regions. And also the time zone. The time zone has been great because you for example, customer support, salespeople, they are like very people who are very flexible on their mindset because they have been grown in countries with crises, with like a lot of changes. And when they work for the US market, they are more like, they can bring that flexible mindset to the
Absolutely.
table. So I think Latam talent is a great key, and for me it's very easy because I've been hiding before. I built companies before. I can understand that for a US person who is hiding here and they wanted to discover how to hire in Latam, it's kind of harder, but they can ask me if I can help. I can give you some advice on that.
That was great, and especially in Argentina, you know, after you had the Mercado Libres of the world, there's so much talent there. In the whole region, truly, it's a competitive advantage. And of course, striving for excellence, which is what you represent as a founder and as a friend. I can't let you go, Juan Manuel, without our Latino lightning round, which is how we finish the show. So I'm gonna ask you a question, and you have to answer quickly with whatever comes to mind.
Okay,
¿Estás listo?
estoy listo.
Okay, tell me about one trend, country, industry in Latin America that has you excited right now.
I think I'm seeing, sorry if it's not in one word, but
It's
I'm
fine.
seeing a lot of young people from 20s. They're very well connected to the world. So I think they're gonna be able to have that Silicon Valley and knowledge of the US much faster than we used to. So I think that is a huge opportunity for Latam of getting that knowledge as fast as possible in the early ages.
Motivation. I don't know anyone from Trenquelauquen who has made it where you've made it. What drives you?
I think I want to transcend, I want to have impact in people, and that's what makes me happy. I decided to leave my family, leave my friends, because I want to have dreams, and those dreams I'm trying to achieve these dreams in the United States.
When the going gets tough, how do you cope?
Stick to my identity.
What is one Latin American saying en español that you apply to business?
Prefiero frenar locos antes que empujar boludos.
I don't even know how would you translate that in English?
I prefer to push crazy people instead of
People whose heart isn't in it, right? Boludos?
yeah, like people who doesn't want to try. Like,
Right. So yeah, prefiero frenar locos que empujar boludos. Parting words. What's one final piece of advice for entrepreneurs listening, for anyone who has a dream and wants to build something that has impact?
I like this one because it's really helpful for founders. Is try to find someone that is 18 months ahead of you on their entrepreneurial journey, because that person has been just 18 months before in what you are. So that person is really understand where you are.
Gracias por tu tiempo, Juan.
Thank you, gracias.